You know, this is the 50th anniversary of How to Succeed. What do you think is relevant about the show today? What do you think?
First of all, we live in times when big business is under a huge amount of scrutiny. It will be fun for people to see big business have the piss taken out of it. That's going to be funny. And also, you know, you've got, with the advent of Facebook and especially last year the film The Social Network, you know, Finch is kind of a period Mark Zuckerberg, who, you know, is a kid who kind of comes to a realization that he's smarter than everybody else out there, and he can, you know, and he won't let being a kid in any way inhibit him from attaining what he wants. As a comment on, you know, the sexism in the 50s, it's very, very clever. And it's very funny, and I don't think stuff like that ever becomes irrelevant or dated.
The climbing the ladder, the succeed part rules the sex part.
Yes.
There's a number that says a secretary's not a toy, and it's their mantra.
Yes.
Don't fool around. You're going to get fired if you fool around, even though they want to fool around.
Well, that's I've always, because obviously, you know, I went and saw Promises at the same time I was thinking a lot about How to Succeed, and the key difference for me in terms of the two lead characters is that, you know, Promises is about a guy who would never let his ambition get in the way of his morality, and Finch is someone who will never let his morality get in the way of his ambition. So it's a kind of fundamental opposite.
What do you listen to? What's on your iPod?
A guy called Edgar Jones Jones, and he's this Liverpudlian guy who just kind of made, I think the album's a few years old. I think it's like 2005 it came out, and it's not like any other album that I've heard, certainly not within the last 10 years. It sounds like it could have been made anywhere between 1920 and 1950. And I found this band called Cars Can Be Blue. It's proper punk music, not pop punk, not anything else. It's really good, and it's funny lyrically, really clever, and just kind of proper punk music. I think they've got 2 albums out.
Do you find it different experience performing in London and performing in New York?
I think it's a different dynamic than it is in London. I mean, I love working in London. It's my home. I love being there, and I love London audiences. But
is there a difference between going to the theatre and seeing a show? That's
the thing. I don't know. I mean, there's something about the idea of that kind of going out to see a Broadway show, and also, you know, there's some people here can see 30 to 40 shows a year. That might be my lifetime total of shows between sort of 40 and 50 shows maybe. You know, in London, people who go to the theatre are very aware always of what's going on in the theatre, but I don't know that the whole city is aware.
I love both. I feel blessed to be able to work at both.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, what a blessing to be able to do, you know, How to Succeed in business with you here at the Hirschfeld Theatre, and also do Streetcar Named Desire at the Donmar Theatre with Rachel Weisz. I mean, you know, what a blessing.
I had a bizarre experience when I came over here to do Equus, where in London we had 2 producers, David Pugh and Dafford Rogers, and even though there were obviously lead producers on Equus, then I met kind of 40 people.
You mean all those people that go up to get the Tony? All those people,
It's an interesting one.
What was your first theatre viewing experience?
Aladdin in Panto at the Salisbury Theatre. I turned around to my mum and said, I want to be an actor, and she said, no you don't. And then the conversation kind of ended there for 5 years. One of my earliest really delighted memories in the theatre was seeing Midsummer Night's Dream, I think at the Comedy Theatre, directed by Ed Hall. What
was your first theatrical performance?
I never really did any school. This was the only school play I ever did. It was a production of Nellie the Elephant, and I was about 6, and I was playing one of the, maybe younger actually, and I was one of the monkeys in the background.
I have the videotape right
Oh, good, fantastic. And so yeah, and then my first, you know, and then before I did Equus, Ken Branagh, who was in the second Potter film, he got me in to do the play what I wrote with Sean Foley and Hamish McColl in London. And I did that. I think I did that 3 times, and came away going, that is amazing. I definitely have to do that again.